So much for watching this session on cultivating social emotional skills through nutrition education. My name is Bessie O'Connor. I am a registered dietitian nutritionist and a community nutrition advisor with Dairy Council of California, representing the Let's Eat Healthy movement. Dairy Council of California is a nutrition education organization dedicated to providing effective nutrition education resources, as well as supporting programs that support food access to healthy food. Our cause is to elevate the health of children and families in California through the pursuit of lifelong healthy eating habits. Today, you will walk away being able to understand the connection between the 5 pillars of social emotional learning and nutrition education. You'll understand why healthy eating patterns and nutrition education matter. And you'll be able to identify tools and strategies to engage students with nutrition education. So we'll start with the pillars of social emotional learning, or SEL. Social emotional learning is the process by which individuals learn to interact with others, set and achieve goals, and regulate their emotions. It is just as important as reading and writing and mathematics, and there are 5 core competencies. These are known as the 5 pillars of social emotional learning. They include self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making. Eating is a learned behavior and a shared experience that involves all of the SEL pillars. Self-awareness we can think of as mindful eating, or perhaps being able to regulate your feelings of fullness or hunger. Self-management is regulating eating due to boredom, anxiety, or depression. Social awareness and relationship skills we can think of as all of those shared human experiences around food, such as eating cultural foods, sharing family traditions, sharing meals, celebrations, perhaps trying new foods or exposing your kids to new foods. And lastly, responsible decision-making is having the capacity, both the knowledge and the opportunity to make healthy food choices. Having a positive relationship with food and eating a wide variety of foods as an adult is the outcome of building these skills and developing a positive eating journey. Childhood really provides a key opportunity to establish healthy dietary patterns that can impact growth and development in the short term, but really sets the foundation for healthy habits later in life. Teaching nutrition places value on well-being, and it fosters those social emotional health by increasing knowledge, skills, and self-efficacy. All of these SEL skills mitigate behaviors associated with weight gain, chronic disease, and overall health. And this goes the other direction too. Mastering self-care skills like healthy eating will buffer stress. Children's developing brains and bodies are particularly vulnerable to the harmful effects of stress, like perhaps experiencing a pandemic. Very often, children are not able to recognize or express their feelings and emotion, and learning and practicing self-care skills can support students' health and help them learn and develop optimally. Educators and parents can model and teach self-care skills to help children learn to manage and cope with challenging situations and help them succeed in school. 2 examples of using nutrition as self-care include modeling good nutrition, which food services do an excellent job of in the school environment, and parents and teachers are also able to model this healthy eating behavior. Another example is really just teaching students to be able to practice mindful eating and think about those different influences that affect eating habits. I think it is also really important to note that an increase in the stress hormone cortisol triggers cravings for high fat and high sugar foods. So not only does stress increase cravings for these kinds of foods, but stress hormones can also make our bodies more resistant to the hormone insulin. This will increase risk for type 2 diabetes. So reinforcing healthy eating patterns in the home environment and at school is key to teaching self-care. This is very important. This is a really important connection because having the ability to regulate emotions and stress is a priority to addressing both social, emotional, and physical well-being. So eating is something that we have to do a lot, which is why it is such a good topic to use to expand social emotional skills. As a parent of 3 kids, ages 2, 4, and 10, right there you can see my 4-year-old, and I caught this picture completely organically. She was just not sure where she learned it, maybe from school. But it feels, having 3 kids, it feels as though they're always asking to eat. Between the 3 meals and snacking, it's really an opportunity to engage with them about how they feel when they eat, what they're eating. It's an excellent opportunity. And it's just as important to consider what foods we eat, but it's also important to consider how we eat and how we foster those healthy relationships with food and build those social emotional skills through these shared experiences. So first, let's think about how what we eat affects our physical health. So eating the right combination of nutritious foods helps us prevent certain diseases. So for example, heart disease and diabetes. And this unfortunately applies to individuals of any age. And in fact, in recent years, we've seen an increase in children being diagnosed with conditions like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and type 2 diabetes. Also, if we are not eating enough nutritious foods, that could possibly be displaced by highly processed foods, we can end up with nutrient deficiencies that affect physical health. And these types of nutrient deficiencies are still happening today. Nutrition also plays a role in supporting immunity, but there isn't a particular diet or food that creates a healthy immune system. It is really a pattern over time of nutritious choices that will support health and overall well-being. So now let's look at how what we eat impacts our mental health. So how we eat, meaning if we're eating alone or with friends or family, if we're eating because we feel stressed or emotional, this often impacts the quantity and the quality of food we eat. And sharing positive food experiences with friends and family supports social emotional learning and healthy eating behaviors. Not getting enough of certain nutrients also can lead to a decrease in energy and mood. And hunger affects our ability to concentrate, which is very important to students because a lack of ability to concentrate in class will affect their ability to learn and be academically successful. And we know now in this distance learning environment that because there's so many more distractions, the ability for kids to focus is much more challenging. So these nutrition and social emotional skills become so much more important. And lastly, families who do not have access to food experience, families that don't have access to food experience stress that's related to hunger. And we know that stress can have a very severe negative effect on our health. The trauma associated with the pandemic and an increase in the number of families facing food insecurity could make academic projections bleak for our most vulnerable children. School food service professionals are working to maintain food service operations, and access to school meals is a community solution for food security. There is no doubt health-related consequences of food insecurity are surfacing as a result of the pandemic, including an increased risk for malnutrition, fatigue, reduced immune response, and long-term effects on development, as well as psychological, emotional, and physical health. Teaching nutrition education can increase acceptability of healthy school meals and support school food service So we're just going to do, because we're not able to have an interactive presentation, I just thought it would be fun and beneficial to have a moment of self-reflection, to really think about how valuable you think social emotional learning and nutrition education are, and how powerful that connection is between those two. So as I go through the presentation, just kind of think about how you plan to prioritize SEL and nutrition education, or really how valuable you think this is to overall student outcomes. These are California's social and emotional learning guiding principles. I'm not going to go into detail about them, but I want to emphasize that they focus on taking a systems approach to promote students' academic and social emotional readiness. So this, maybe put simply, just means that there is a need to address all the determinants of student success and building equity by providing opportunities for all students to build SEL skills and maximizing resources for the entire school community. Nutrition education today must blend fundamental knowledge and skills with experiential practice. Nutrition education is part of a larger systems approach, much like we just talked about with the social emotional learning guiding principles. Delivered in combination with healthy foods through schools, communities, and policies, it can exist in a variety of learning settings. Not only exist, but be most effective in a variety of learning settings with diverse audience, from classrooms to gardens to community centers to school cafeteria. These are all avenues to really engage students and have the most impact on nutrition education outcomes. And really, nutrition education implemented in a comprehensive, sustainable way has the power to positively change individuals and communities. So all caring adults, parents, teachers, food service staff have an impact on how children develop important life skills, such as healthy eating and social emotional skills. We have tools to build connections with parents and engage families in the conversation about nutrition. Our nutrition builders are short, one-page resources that are topical, and they provide information about nutrition topics and then an opportunity to apply that knowledge through an activity. So these topics include My Plate, breakfast, healthy beverages, snacking, and farm to you. And each will also have a physical activity component. These are going to be available in HyperDoc slides so they can be easily integrated into distance learning. We also have adult and teen wellness prescription pads created in partnership with LA Trust. These are intended to be used in school health centers or by health professionals working with families and teens. The wellness pads encourage taking small but consistent steps every day towards nutrition and physical activity goals. We also have several teen and family nutrition booklets to encourage conversations on nutrition topics within families and communities. And lastly, as a community nutrition advisor, I am available to support both parent educational sessions or provide professional development trainings for teachers or food service staff. So in addition to our adult and family resources, we have core nutrition education curriculum that is evidence-based and aligned to Common Core standards. This is so that it can be easily integrated into the classroom while also meeting learning objectives. In addition, our fourth grade program passed the rigorous process as a research-tested program and is highlighted in the National Cancer Institute's database as an effective resource to improve public health through behavior change strategies. So our curriculum is K through 12, and it is, we have teaching tutorials that can help you integrate it into Google Classroom, Seesaw, or also make fillable templates. Here you can see an example of how our nutrition curriculum builds the social emotional learning core competencies. So students build self-management and responsible decision-making skills by reflecting on their own eating patterns and practicing swapping extra foods for nutritious foods from the 5 food groups to meet their daily and nutrient needs. In addition, students learn to read food labels and develop responsible decision-making skills when it comes to their food choices. This is an example from our 4th grade curriculum, and our newly revised K through 2 programs will designate social emotional learning activities with a green heart, so it is easy to identify how and where those skills are being practiced throughout the nutrition curriculum. Another impactful resource is our mobile dairy classroom, which has been around since the 1930s and is the original farm to school program. We have pivoted to provide this program online, and teachers can sign their class up for 45-minute virtual farm tours. These lessons talk about how milk gets from farm to students, the diet and anatomy of cows, and incorporates 5 food group nutrition information. We also have many more resources online, including our blog and our video series called Ask a Nutritionist, which is designed to translate diverse and challenging nutrition topics to be able to be easily communicated to whoever you are working with, whether it be families or students. So I just wanted to include this to kind of put a focus on the fact that we are not reaching our nutrition education goals in the United States. In the United States, students receive less than 8 hours of the 40 to 50 hours of required nutrition education each year. So we really have an incredible opportunity to improve the amount of nutrition education that students receive. So knowing this, we recognize that our shared values and collaboration with one another is key. The Let's Eat Healthy movement intends to build this positive momentum with partners, educators, health professionals, and others who prioritize nutrition. And that partnership and collaboration, of course, will look very different depending on the role that each partner plays in their local community. So I hope this inspires some nutrition-focused partners to work with us to support our cause, which is, once again, to elevate the health of children and families in California through the pursuit of lifelong healthy eating habits. I wanted to also just give some very specific examples of how you can join the movement, which of course is to teach nutrition education, perhaps increase ag literacy through school gardens or the mobile dairy classroom assemblies, perhaps assessing the food service environment with smarter lunchroom strategies, or infusing nutrition in social emotional learning lessons, or writing specific nutrition goals in your wellness policy. And lastly, I wanted to highlight a collaboration with Goleta Union School District, Child Nutrition Director Kim Long. She has been working very hard to engage students, parents, and teachers with important nutrition topics. So for World School Milk Day, she provided a farm to school tip sheet, some themed pencils, and she dressed up in a milk carton costume to create a really fun, educational and memorable experience to reinforce where milk comes from and its health benefits. She is also providing nutrition enrichment activities on how to build a healthy breakfast and how to eat foods from the 5 food groups. You can follow her activities on her Instagram, which is at GUSD Food. So it's been an absolute blast to collaborate with her, and I'm looking forward to being really innovative and coming up with some more fantastic ideas of how to engage families and students in Goleta Union School District. And I want to say that these are just some ideas, but I also really look forward to hopefully collaborating with many of you. So please feel free to contact me. I am here to support. And lastly, please provide some feedback. You can go to bit.ly SBC Wellness Summit DCC to give some feedback on the content of this presentation. Thank you very much. I'm excited to work with you, so please contact me. Again, my name is Bessie O'Connor, and I'm a community nutrition advisor serving the Central Coast.